Welcome everybody to today's video. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about accents, specifically accent marks. Why does Spanish have them? Why do some words have them and other words don't? Where do they go? Everything like that. So, without any further ado, let's jump right in and look at these accent marks. Now, the first thing we need to understand is a stressed syllable. Now, in English, every word is made up of syllables. In Spanish, the same thing. There are syllables all over the place. And every syllable is not necessarily going to be pronounced and stressed the same. So, for example, if I said the word banana, we have those three syllables. Ba-na-na. If I said it the same and flat and even and level, it would sound like banana. That's very robotic, right? It's not pronounced and it's not accented and just said correctly. It's just not. So, even in English, every word has one syllable that is stressed or emphasized more than the other ones. We call this the stressed syllable. So in that example, banana, we have that second syllable there, that banana. That is said a little bit louder and a little bit higher, a little bit longer, banana, right? You're emphasizing it a little bit more. That is what we are talking about with the stressed. So, we can say it is said louder and longer. So it is said louder and longer. It is emphasized, right? It is really important that we understand every word has only one. Just one. So the natural question comes up is, well, how do you know which one? If there's 4 different syllables, is it the first one, the last one, the middle? What is it? Okay. Now, the rule for Spanish is if it ends in a consonant that is not N or S, okay? Anything that is not those 2 consonants. The stress is going to be on the last syllable. Okay. So, for example, if we had the word comer, we're going to take this and break it apart into the different syllables. So we have co, mer. And since it is ending with a R right here, we're going to emphasize this last syllable right there. So it's comer. And we say that a little bit louder, a little bit higher, a little bit longer. Comer. Comer. And it goes up there a little bit. If, for example, we have the word ciudad. Again, this ends in a D, which is a consonant. It's not N or S, so it fits into this rule. So we are going to divide them up. Ciudad. And we're going to emphasize this one over here. Ciudad. Ciudad. Okay. Or if we had the word animal. 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 Okay? It's going to be the last one. Animal. Animal. So don't say something like animal or animal or anything like that. Animal. Hopefully we can start to hear the distinction in this stressed emphasis here. That's the constants. If it ends in a vowel or N or S, okay, so any of the ones that doesn't fit into rule number 1, it is going to be on the second to last syllable. So this might look like the word todo. Okay? So if we broke it apart, we would have to, do. Now, since this is a vowel, we're going to go to the one right before. This is the last one. The one right before it is the second to the last. We're going to say todo. Todo. And we emphasize that first one there. So if we had another example, we have these two syllables, ho, ben. Okay. So this is our last one. Second to the last is right here. So we're going to emphasize this, ho, ben, ho, ben, ho, ben. Right? Right? We're all good so far? One more. If we had this word here, calcetines. Okay, obviously this is a lot longer. So now we have more syllables. Calcetines. Okay, so if we had all these 4-syllable words here, now we're going to go the last syllable, second to the last is right here. So we're going to say calcetines. Calcetines. Right? That is where we want to place our emphasis. That is where we want to place our stress and really put in that punch right there. Okay? That goes there. Now, if we are looking at this, we have the consonants, except for N or S. Those go on the last ones. We have the vowels, N and S. Those go on the second to the last. Every word in Spanish is either going to fall into rule number 1 or it's going to fall into rule number 2. That's it. There is no other way that they could possibly end. That covers everything. So rule number 3 is simply if you are changing anything, if it should fall into rule number 1, but you want to move it around, or if it should fall into rule number 2, but you don't want it to go on the second to the last syllable, you have to put it there with an accent mark. Okay? So any change triggers an accent mark. That is why the accent is there. It's to tell you, don't follow the normal rule. Follow this rule over here. Place the accent, place your emphasis, place your stress on this portion, not that portion over there. And because it is emphasizing this syllable, well, the syllable is all built around the vowels, so it only goes on the vowels. Okay? So the stress is on the accented vowel of that syllable. Let's take an example here. If we had this word here, okay, if we looked at it and said, okay, it ends in an S, rule number 2. So if we were to break it apart, de, mas, we would naturally place it right here and say, además. Además. But that's not what we want to say. We don't want to say además. We want to say además. Además. So we put an accent right here on the A because we're moving the emphasis from this natural position here to this unnatural position over here. Now this is all because Spanish was first a spoken language and people knew this is the way that the word should be pronounced. And this is the way it should sound to the ear. So then when they developed the written language and said, okay, this doesn't follow this rule. Okay, well, that's fine. I'll tell you that it doesn't follow the rule with an accent mark. And I'll let the readers know, and I'll let the audience know, don't do this, put it over here. So it's actually a help for people that are learning or reading or trying to pronounce these words correctly. It's a signal, it's a flag to say, this is where it goes over here. Let's take another example. Okay, so if we had this word, oceano, we're going to break it apart and have o, se, a, no. Oceano, the ocean. Now, again, we're looking at this and say, oh, you know what? That O right there, that's a vowel. So this should be rule number 2. So we should put it right here. This is the second to the last, oceano. Oceano. But we don't want to do that. We want to say oceano. Oceano. So we're going to put the emphasis right here on this E, and that changes it to oceano. It's moving from the A to the E, and we're just moving it right over and saying, nope, this is the one. Or one more example here. If we had this really long word, mathematics, matemáticas, breaking it apart, we have ma, te, ma, ti, cuz. But if we were to classify and say, well, it ends in an S, that's going to be rule number 2. It should fall right here on the T. Matemáticas. Matemáticas. But even in English, we don't want to say mathematics. Mathematics, right? So in Spanish, we're not going to want to say matemáticas. We want to say matemáticas, right? So instead of putting it right here, where it naturally goes, we're going to move it over one place and say, oh, actually, it's going to go right here. Matemáticas. And that shift, that movement, means we have to have an accent right there. That is what it's telling us. So this is a bit of an introduction to why some words have accents and some words don't have accents, because we want them to sound correctly. And we want you as the reader, as the learner, as the partner in communication to be able to say these words correctly. So really, you should be grateful and happy and excited when you see an accent, because you know, I know how this word is going to be pronounced. And I can see it and read it and say it right from the start. No guessing involved. This is going to be stressed. Easy. It'd be great if all words had accents. Then there wouldn't be any confusion. If it follows rule number 1 or rule number 2, they don't need it because they're naturally there. Anything else is going to have one. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you later. Adios.